They've been missing for so long.
Oh, no, she was
What's her sad?
just with it
You want me to do
being
it?
black and white and the mustache and everything.
To order. Jackie, would you get us started by calling the roll?
Yes. Trona Enright Randolph.
Here.
Edward Olman.
Here.
Ed Morris.
Here.
Scott Barrett.
Here.
Laurie Clemens.
Here.
Julie Thomas.
Here.
Dee Owens, who I believe I
Just
just
logging in.
logged in. Okay. Cheryl Munson.
She had an event earlier.
Okay.
She'll
and
be on
then-
her way over.
Okay, so she'll be late, and then Jerry Pittsford.
Yeah.
Okay, but we do have in-person quorum. We have 6 members in person, 1 online, so we're able to proceed.
Thanks, Jackie.
Dee, I just called the roll, sorry. If you want to respond that you're here, can you hear us okay?
She's there.
Well, if I didn't hear,
Dee, we're
like she's underwater.
not
I'm here.
able to hear you.
I made her a presenter.
It's probably our only one.
here comes Cheryl.
Dee, can you try and speak one more time? You're on mute now.
There it is. It's off again.
No. Oh, is it the computer?
Oh my God, Dee's trapped in an aquarium. Somebody help her.
That's what I think she's
Her
over.
life preserver.
It's a little fish.
Oh, there you go.
Ah, okay. All right, so.
Pretty.
There we go.
All right, and then Cheryl is here, Jerry's here, so actually we have everybody, so.
Great.
Thanks, Jackie. So first up on the agenda tonight is the Plan Commission Committee appointments.
And I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to move that Jeff Morris be elected president of the Plan Commission.
Okay, all right, I will start off with the Plan Commission president then. We have a vote and a second to make Jeff Morris the president. A vote yes is a vote in favor. Trona Enright Randolph.
Yes.
Edward Olman.
Yes.
Cheryl Munson.
Yes.
Jerry Pittsford.
No.
Jeff Morris.
Yes.
Scott Ferris.
Yes.
Laurie Clemens.
Yes.
Julie Thomas.
Yes.
Dee Owens.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion carries 3-1.
Thank you all. I appreciate the confidence. Moving on to the vice president position. If Margaret is no longer our president, I would like to nominate her for vice president. If you'd be willing to accept that role.
Thank you. I accept.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to elect Margaret Clemens as vice president. A vote in favor is a vote yes. Edward Olman.
Yeah.
Cheryl Munson.
Yes.
Jerry Pittsford.
No.
Jeff Morris.
Yes.
Scott Ferris.
Yes.
Margaret Clemens.
Yes.
Julie Thomas.
Yes.
Trona Enright Randolph.
Gonna vote yes, but with the comment. I think moving people into the vice presidency role gives experience. So if we move people into the presidency role, they're already familiar with it, just like Mr. Morrison. You know, I was actually considering, recommending you too. So I just wanted to say that, but I'll vote yes. The numbers are there, so it doesn't really matter.
And then Dee Owens.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion carries 8-1.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, moving on to the executive committee. Do we have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Jeff Morris for the executive committee person number 1. And can I nominate myself for executive committee person number 2? And if you're willing to serve, would you serve in the executive committee person number 3? Is anybody else
We
making?
typically have council and commissioner.
Okay, so,
And I thought the president was automatically a member of the
Well,
executive
no, but
committee.
it's typically kind of how it rolls. Sorry, I wasn't trying to mess with your notes.
And the fourth one was,
I think it would have to be Julie Thomas.
I think Cheryl Munson should be on there too, because her role on council and the budget.
Yes.
I will remove myself. So Cheryl can be nominated.
Hey, can I hit it for the team? Okay, so we have a full slate.
I didn't hear a second on that, but I'll repeat it. It was Jeff Morris, Margaret Clemens, Julie Thomas, Cheryl Munson for PC 1 through 4 on executive committee.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to amend or add those members to the executive committee. So again, that's Margaret Clemens, Jeff Morris, Julie Thomas, and Cheryl Munson. A vote yes is to put all 4 of those members in the executive committee. Cheryl Munson,
Yes.
Jerry Pittsburgh.
I abstain.
Okay, Jeff Morris,
Yes.
Scott Ferris,
Yes.
Margaret Clemens,
Yes.
Julie Thomas.
Yes.
Ron and Wright Randolph.
It's the same as last year, right? I'm not gonna vote president, so I'll vote yes.
Okay, Edward Ullman,
No.
and then Dee Owens.
Yes.
Okay, so the vote carries 7-1 to 1.
Okay, moving on to the BZA appointee. We have one person to appoint, right, Jackie?
Correct.
Okay. Do we have any nominations for that role?
I'd like to nominate Dee Owens to serve again.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to nominate Dee Owens as PC designee to the BZA. I'm going to start with Dee Owens to make sure that you are accepting of the role.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Tron and Wright Randolph.
Yes.
Okay, Edward Ullman,
Yeah.
Cheryl Munson,
Yes.
Jerry Pittsburgh,
Yeah, sure.
Jeff Morris,
Yes.
Scott Ferris,
Yes.
Margaret Clemens,
Yes.
Julie Thomas.
Yes.
That motion carries 9-0.
I want to say, sorry about the pause, Steve, for a minute. I was wondering who the rep was last time because Margaret's on there and I followed the BZA and I think you do a terrific job and also that. I was just-
Margaret is the commissioner's appointment to the BZA and Plan Commission, and Dee is now the Plan Commission's appointment. Yeah, it's a little confusing
I just
how
wanted to
that
get it
works.
straight,
Yes,
so.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. And then the next committee is Plan Review Committee. I do want to just make a note, we don't have any citizen appointments. Mr. Scott Ferris was previously one of our citizen appointees before he was appointed to the Plan Commission. I talked to Dave about this committee because it's often discussed each year. And it's not obligatory that we have a plan review committee, but the goal of the plan review committee is just to look at rezone petitions or PUD outline plan amendments prior to them coming to the full plan commission and the commissioners to get that formal feedback regarding their compatibility with the comprehensive plan. So last year we canceled 7 of the 12 meetings, whether that's for lack of quorum or lack of agenda items, but we only canceled about half. So I want to make a note here to make sure that we're still, as a plan commission board, interested in keeping the plan review committee. And if so, then I would ask that you go ahead and move forward with your appointment.
And once we have a CDO in place, we should not have a plan review committee. So if we have it, this could potentially be the last year of it for a while. Because you're not reviewing a plan anymore. The plan would be, the CDO would be done.
Sure, I mean, once we have the CDO, we'll probably have to update our company.
Oh, stop.
But yeah.
It's always, every year I always say I don't want to do this, but every year I'm told that I'm supposed to be on it and as a commissioner. So if I need to be on it, I will do it. I don't know what everybody thinks about continuing having the plan review committee.
I gotta have my hand.
Can I ask, just more directed towards the office? Last, and I think, believe it was December, might have been November, there was a discussion about kind of what historically speaking the admin meetings were for. You know, I've only been here a year and it seems like admin meetings A few exceptions have been kind of as a presentation or as a prep for the general meeting or the regular session meeting. And having no knowledge of the plan review committee meetings and how they're formatted, my question really is more directed towards staff and the office, and like what occurs in the plan review committee that is different from what happened this past month or the past year in admin meetings. And if we try to shift away from the admin meetings, so being so much of review and more of like presentation, special projects kind of stuff, what needs to be done in that regard, you know, is the plan review committee important and valuable to the staff? I guess in summary.
So I think that the plan review committee, it can be helpful to get that initial feedback for rezones, but what we've heard from applicants, which we often have to field those calls the next day, is, hey, I didn't get a chance to talk. This kind of feels like a preview of what's going to happen at the plan commission. You know, kind of like we have to walk them through to tell them, you know, this is just a review of the comprehensive plan. The report's going to look different once it gets to plan commission. Lately, I don't think plan review committee has offered a vote, but they do offer some questions that need to be answered. So whether that could be handled by a second hearing of the plan commission meeting, because they don't always get that waiver of final hearing, or if we want to keep plan review committee, I think that it's going, without any citizen appointments, it's 4 out of the 9 members are plan commission members. So those 4 people will hear it several times. Tron and then Jerry and then Scott.
I was gonna ask the same question, like, where's the value in planning? Moving to the second kind of question, I guess, or not question, I guess, it's more of a comment, and it might dive into some of your question, where I think it allows some of the petitioners to come and propose conceptual ideas that don't necessarily fall within our comprehensive plan or our subdivision or zoning ordinance. I think it can serve with some valuable feedback from the plan review committee to the petitioners of what they feel could be, you know, worked out or integrated into a plan or taken away to move it forward. So I think you've seen a couple different petitions that are being kind of chopped up in our hearings. This allows an opportunity for them to kind of have a discussion with a smaller group where they can address those concerns that could potentially move the project forward. And I think that's one reason we'd really like to have our commissioner representative there, because a lot of these move to the commissioner's office for final adoption. So if they're able to provide feedback too, then, you know, at least that could potentially, again, move that project forward, or it could give them some, or it could be completely on the other side of that. And they're like, no, this isn't something we're looking for. And then they just kind of would move that petition because they may sense that it's not going to be something that's doable. So it's really one of those ways to give them a conversation and us to provide feedback outside of our normal hearing. And I find value in that, and I don't need to frame that in a question. I just wanted to add that.
Jerry, do you want to go next, then, Scott?
Yeah, the plan review committee came about back when I was first elected president. And I forget how many, there were 3 different committees that were joined to form the plan review committee, and I can't remember what they were. The strength of the plan review committee exists in the citizen appointees. The deficiency that exists in the plan review committee right now and has persistently existed for the last several years is the failure to put citizens on that board.
So there's citizens on it?
Yes.
Well, there was one.
Well, there were multiple citizens at one
No,
point.
like I'm saying as in
Right,
2023.
there should be
one.
3 citizen appointees on that. That's the whole utilitarian value of that. When we quit appointing citizens, we totally undermine the purpose for the committee. when it's just more plan commissioners hearing more petitioners, it does no one really any good. It is the outside voice of the citizen at that phase of the plan that is instructive and valuable. So if we're not going to have citizen appointees, then we shouldn't have a plan review committee, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thanks for that little comment. I wasn't aware of it.
So I look at it from a bureaucratic standpoint. And the amount of administrative staff work that you put in place to put on the plan review committee. And is it another layer of prep that you have to do to prepare? Or is this stuff that's already prepared, that is already in the queue as you take it to the plan commission meeting? I mean, there is a redundancy. And I'm a process guy, and anytime you can be a more efficient and streamline things and have a lesser impact on the staff, if there's no value added in doing it, then we should take and consider that.
I completely agree with that because you guys are working so hard and your evening hours are consumed with too much with us. You know, so I completely agree with that. That's a great observation and recommendation. Glad you're here.
When does the plan review committee meet?
Second Thursday of
What
the
time?
month, 5:30.
That's okay. So I just wanted to comment that I served on the plan review committee for, I think, 7 years before I ran for county council. And it was absolutely rewarding work. I was there with John Irvine and Richard Martin. And and you, yeah, I can't tell you how much I learned. And I hope I also could contribute too, but it made me want to be on the plan commission. But I couldn't do that because I was on the township board for Indian Creek, and that can't hold two lucrative offices, even if one doesn't provide any money.
Yeah, I think, I agree with you, Cheryl, but, you know, the last few years it has been really tough to get people to join as residents, these
Really?
committees. It's very tough, just like boards and commissions, they're always tough to fill.
Well,
And they shouldn't be, but they are because people are busier than ever and it's, you know, so, you know, to Jerry's point about having residents on board, the question is, you know, who and how, and that's a key issue.
So is
So
this
the answer to, is there an answer to my question?
Yeah, so I was gonna come back to that. We do initially draft those reports, and that's kind of a layer on it. On top of that would be what goes to the plan commission. So the standards for review for a text amendment, a map amendment, or a rezone, one of 5 criteria is its compatibility with the comprehensive plan. So the report is really written out with just that perspective of the comprehensive plan. Then when it comes back for the plan commission review, staff has to go back through and add those other criteria and then make another recommendation. Typically, if it doesn't meet the comprehensive plan, the recommendation will stay fairly similar, but it is a little bit duplicative for staff to kind of parse apart just one portion of it. And I also think it's difficult as you go to the plan review committee, it's really difficult to hone in on just looking at the comprehensive plan. I know people want to sometimes look at other things that aren't necessarily just the comprehensive plan discussion. So it is a bit duplicative, but it's not wasted work. I would say that.
If we're going to disband this or remove it, is that something that needs a motion?
It would require an edit to the rules of procedure, which I think we could just, if you didn't want to fill any of the positions on the plan review committee and you wanted to ask staff to make that edit to the rules of procedure, I think we could do that at an administrative meeting. I don't think we have to necessarily notice that. Dave, do we have to, does the edits to the plan commission rules of procedure have to be done at a hearing, or can we do that during a meeting?
That can be, it's an administrative matter that can be done at any meeting.
Okay.
The only thing that may come about, and it's something that we talked about with spending time here, talking in the admin meetings, talking about the CDO, is whether or not it might require people to have more than one hearing where they might not have.
Right.
And that's the only downside to that is, you know, for the petitioner, they have one more meeting to attend, but yet they may be able to move things along a little more quickly. So I see that as the only, you know, issue that could occur.
I had that thought because I was thinking about the fact that, you know, in the aggregate, it's the same amount of meetings. It's just that they're occurring more frequently. You know, that
Right.
petition is still seeing 3 meetings, review
Right.
committee, admin, regular, as opposed, because how many over the last year, how many hearings or how many petitions did we see that were the petition for waiver of, or the waiver of final hearing?
Yeah.
So it's like now if we do have questions, we just won't be waiving that final hearing. It'll get drawn out by an extra month.
Yeah.
So it's like in the lump sum, that petition still sees the same amount of meetings, just that the petitioner's timeline is 1 month instead of 2.
It could be. I mean, I've seen things come before plan review committee, they've been here, and so I agree with that. But it could be that extra month of having a second meeting if we don't waive the final hearing. We have the final hearing the following month. So that's the only thing I wanted to raise. I don't really have a strong feeling either way on it. I just wanted to raise that as one of the potential consequences.
I agree. Sometimes we're able to discuss things and like, before it comes to the full plan commission, be like, for instance, when they're looking for like a sidewalk waiver or something like that, and it's not really kind of spelled out easily. Sometimes we're able to walk through those things and hint to the petitioner that, you know, when you come to the plan commission, it'd be nice to have like a nice detail of that waiver. So, you know, we don't spend another half hour debating that again because it wasn't clear on the submittal. So I've seen that be a benefit with kind of having preliminary reviews before they go to the full plan commission through the plat committee. So again, I don't really have a stern position, but I do think that there is some benefit. And I will say that Commissioner Thomas did mention that, you know, this might be something that isn't as needed once we adopt the new CDO. So maybe we just leave it in place for this year and revisit it. Because I'm not getting a sense of the room. So I would really be more curious of a stern, like definitive answer from planning. But again, it seems like there's value in that there's some duplication of effort.
I'd like to ask Jackie and Tammy to think about it, you know, to think about how you'd like to see this go and how we can best be of service to you and, you know, talk about it internally and get back with us at our next meeting if that's possible.
If we do propose to get rid of it, I'd like to bring back the rules of procedure with the proper striking out.
Right.
And then would the plan commission be amenable to, if we get rid of plan review committee, this whole column would go away of the meeting calendar. So what I'm hearing is maybe we could, do you want to make the dates of plan commission move up to make it so that they don't have a gap month in there? And then that would.
If that's what Steph wants, I think
That's
that
a
would be.
really great
But
idea.
there is a PRC meeting on Thursday, so I assume that for now is off for sure because we don't have anybody appointed, right? So.
What that would do
Well, I don't know
is,
if we'll get a quorum, but we would be whoever the committee appointees were of 2023 if we don't appoint
Okay.
anyone tonight,
Okay.
unless we just, or if you want to advise us.
We used to do this years ago when I worked at the Pentagon. That is, that you can always put a caveat for any of these boards, commissions, working groups, focus groups, et cetera, by adding a comma as required. Okay, and that could be something that based upon your experiences and your knowledge and working with the client, the petitioner, et cetera, if the staff feels that it needs to go to the plan review committee before going to the plan commission, you would be the ones who call for it. It'd be something you'd be empowered to do based upon what you see in need.
Right.
That's an easy way to take it and put a caveat there, and it doesn't go through a bunch of rewrites and stuff like that. You can just add a comma as required.
Okay.
That's a thought. That's just a thought.
just be thinking about it internally.
We will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels quick to me to get rid of it tonight. I'm not saying I'd be opposed to getting rid of it if we think about it. I think the other comment that I have is this is, in theory, as Jerry was pointing out, an opportunity for citizens to be involved. And I think if we take that away, then we should,
Add some
public
things.
comment before we do that.
If I can make one more comment, I think you guys all hear that I'm on the side of getting rid of it, but I see it as, it seems like those that have been involved in it or are involved in it, it's just one additional meeting in your static calendar. And I don't, I'm not sure what all the petitions look like that get and how they get discussed, but I'm sure like everything that happens at the admin and general meetings, there are some that we read, we look at, we move on, and then there's some that get hashed out. And I see that as instead of adding a additional 2-hour meeting or however long you take to 4 people's calendar, you're adding 20, 30 minutes to the conversation that is already going to happen at the admin meeting. And so in the general sense, we, all of us on the board are carrying the burden of 30 additional minutes to our meeting, as opposed to 4 members having to carry the burden of 2 extra hours to their month. And so I just see it as being, kind of as a team player, let's just, we're taking one less meeting off of their schedule, which planning staff, I think, is already, I don't know how you do your months, but, that's the way I view it. I think it's for the greater good for all the team players. And, if it tags on 30 minutes to admin, it tags on 30 minutes to admin, so.
So if you're going to take and push this to the next meeting for a decision, do you have to take and put placeholders in place now?
I think if we leave this column blank, but we, if those on the plan review committee right now would be willing to just serve one more time, and then we can hash this out at the next admin meeting, I think that would be helpful. I'm hesitant to vote people in because I don't want it to seem like it's for the entire year. But if we just want to move forward with the members that were on there.
But with the citizen one, not being a plan commission member, we want to address that or just leave it alone?
So Scott Ferris would take on Bernie Garitad's position as the
I mean,
appointment. Yes.
Or not attend, and,
No, that's-
as chair.
I have no.
Then I make a motion real quickly to sort of move past it, move Scott Ferris as a replacement for Bernie Garitaz.
Second.
Okay, all right, and then that would just be for until the next administrative meeting when we discuss this. We could vote again to the full plan review committee if we choose to keep it, but that would be Jerry Pittsburgh, Julie Thomas, Jeff Morris, and Scott Ferris serving on plan review committee for the month of February. A vote in favor is a vote to approve. John and Ray Randolph,
Yes.
Edward Olman,
Yes.
Cheryl Munson.
Yes.
Jerry Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Jeff Morris,
Yes.
Scott Ferris.
Yes.
Margaret Clemens.
Yes.
Julie Thomas.
Yes.
Dee Owens.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 9-0.
And we're not gonna look at this at the regular meeting this month. We're gonna wait till the admin meeting next month.
We're open if you'd like to have public comment on the item, or I guess we could leave it as administrative in the beginning of the public meeting.
I think it depends on if you feel like you can figure out what you want to present.
How do you do public comment? Do you just put it out on the website?
Well, if we're taking public comment for items that are listed on as a hearing for the plan commission, they come up to the podium and speak on it. But since this is an administrative item, we don't technically
Yeah.
have to take comment on it.
Right.
So
I think I would prefer to push it off to the admin meeting next month, just so that way we can have more discussion like this in case anybody on the board has more thoughts about it,
My concern with that is he's gonna prepare the next PRC agenda by then. So I was trying to save a little time. That's what I was trying, that's what I was thinking
No,
of.
that's a good comment.
It is.
I'm not familiar with when the agenda comes out, so that's a good comment.
You know, that's came off me as. Oh, never mind.
you two proceed to have anything on? Do you want to move on to the plat committee?
Yeah, and I would like to ask a question before making a motion. I was going to just nominate the same members and the same alternate unless someone else was wanting to serve or not serve, if you're able to go.
I'm currently on it and I'd be willing to, but if somebody wants my spot,
Well, I was gonna just make a slate nomination to reappoint Jeff Morris, myself, Trondon Wright Randolph, Edwin Ullman, and as alternate Margaret Clemens.
If anybody else would like to serve as an alternate, I wouldn't mind having more time. I don't know if anybody cares to do that. If not, I'll serve. Because I tend to be, can show up, help this. Yeah, you could. Okay, I'll agree to serve.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Second the motion?
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to nominate Jeff Morris, Trondon Wright Randolph, Edward Ullman, and the alternate Margaret Clements. A vote yes is a vote in favor to elect these members to the Plat Committee. Edward Ullman,
Yes.
Cheryl Munson,
Yes.
Jared Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Jeff Morris,
yes.
Scott Ferris,
Yes.
Margaret Clements, Julie Thomas,
Yes.
Dee Owens,
yes,
Trondon Wright Randolph.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries unanimously. And then the next is the MPO Policy Committee.
And as serving as the alternate for a while, it was always, I think suggested by Margaret of who maybe a good alternate was. And I was wondering if we wanted to extend that same courtesy to Jeff.
Well, I'd like to nominate Scott Ferris for the MPO.
Alternate.
No,
Well, as president, you have to serve. It's in the
It's-
bylaws.
that's,
But if Jeff doesn't come, then Scott Ferris can serve as the alternate. Just getting that point
Is that in the bylaws?
of the MPO.
I think it's the bylaws of the MPO.
You would, yeah, I'd have to look that up and see if it's in the Policy Committee, it might be.
Pretty sure it is.
Okay, so then if Jeff Morris cannot attend, then if Scott Ferris attended, you would just announce yourself as proxy and you would be able to attend.
I moved to appoint Scott Ferris as the alternate to the MPO. And
Is that acceptable to you both?
How often does that group meet?
Once a month.
Once a month?
but they're off in July and January.
Yeah.
They're Fridays, I believe it's the fourth Friday of the month at
It's this,
1:30.
it's this,
1:30.
it's this Friday, so I think it's the second
Okay.
Friday.
second Friday. of the month.
And I believe it actually requires
No,
a
so
proxy
You were never
letter.
able to go, he would
Proxy
go.
letter, okay.
But I don't know if that's
It
acceptable.
can be an email
Well-
to the staff.
I've actually
which means they don't.
worked with the MPO for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
If,
Okay.
And
if
so
the
I'm-
person going is filling the place
He's perfect.
of the president and voting, they have to have a proxy
Well,
letter.
it's considered an alternate because you're not proxying someone, so like they can go independently. That's again, and
And
then.
I think you ought to review that.
I have
Okay.
many a times.
I don't know if there's a limit on the number of times a proxy can go instead of.
There's no limit,
It's a limit.
So,
there's no limit.
Can a proxy vote?
yes.
Yes.
So theoretically speaking, you could appoint me as a proxy in your absence, and I go in your absence.
Uh-huh.
And that would alleviate you from going.
That's not theoretically, that is,
That's actual.
that's actual.
And again, you didn't hear the conversation, and Julie knows this, and Margaret knows this very well. I have been participating with the MPO for the last 5 years.
Yes, it's not like he's a newbie.
Yeah, I've made presentations and had numerous discussions with the MPO. so-
And with NDOT and with other entities trying to move forward safety matters for our community. And despite all that effort, I can't believe how much resistance there is. It's incredible.
That's a whole nother story.
Thank you so much for all you've done. I really appreciate it.
Is that amenable to you?
Yeah, that's fine.
What is the process?
I just wanted to make sure what I was getting into before I
Yeah.
accepted
Well,
it.
you don't have to actually get into anything,
Okay.
which is the good news.
So what I'll do is if this designee and alternate goes through, I can send a email to Pat Martin and Rachel Sargent with the MPO and just announce and tell them that we elected a designee and then an alternate. And if they respond back saying they need something as an alternate, I can make
And
it.
so I can just attend his stay indefinitely.
If you go and he goes at the same time, then you wouldn't be able to vote.
Right.
So it would have to be when Jeff isn't going that you would be
So
serving as
if
president.
you don't want to go forever,
No, it's fine. I just want to make sure that this wasn't something that met weekly or.
but do we need to tell them that?
No, I mean, being on the technical advisory committee, there are some people that are main appointees and their proxy only ever goes. So, I mean, I think it's just a matter of,
It's pretty normal.
yeah, it's, you
Okay.
can
The mayor
serve as a
never,
proxy.
I just
the
don't
mayor
want-
didn't go all of 22
I just don't
and
want,
3, I think, so.
what I'm trying to alleviate is pushback.
No.
Sure.
And once you're on there, you can change the policy.
They just recently changed it not too long ago, but I'm familiar with it. Everything you're saying is fine.
It's okay with you, it's
Okay,
okay.
yeah, it's fine with me. I'm good with it.
So I'll go on Friday,
Okay.
if that's okay with you.
Do we need to vote on that?
Yes. Jerry, did you have a question?
I just wondered if there was a reason the MPO had established, because my first established that they wanted the president of the plan commission to be the member, because when I was on the town board of Ellettsville and they were brought into the MPO, was the town council president that was the representative. And I didn't, knowing that the MPO deals with federal transportation grants, if they had a particular reason that their bylaws required the lead executive of each committee associated with it to be that person. You see what I'm saying? I mean, if they had a purpose in that, are we undermining their purpose by saying, well, we recognize that you intend for the president of the planning commission to be there, but we're electing an alternate and sending that person all the time in spite of your wishes?
So I have policy here, and it just says, under the MPO, 2.3 memberships, mayor, City of Bloomington President, Monroe County Commissioner, President, Monroe County Council, President, City of Bloomington Common Council, President of Monroe County Planning Commission, President, City of Bloomington Planning Commission, President, Ellettsville Town Council, Chair, Board of Directors, Bloomington Public Works Transportation Corporation, Vice President and Chief Administrator Officer of Indiana University, Director of City of Bloomington Public Works, Director of County Highway Department, Chair of MPO Citizen Advisory Committee, Director of the INDOT Seymour District. I don't even know what FHWA Indiana Division non-voting, FTA Regional B non-voting, so.
Right, but to that
And
point,
alternates, and it's, the alternates are designated policy committee representatives for a board, commission, institution, or an organization is unable to serve on the policy committee. An alternate representative may be appointed to the same board, commission, institution, or organization to serve the term of the regular designee. In such case, the regular designee shall not require to submit a proxy statement for each meeting that the alternate representative attends.
Shall not be.
and to that point, Pam Samuels has been on the MPO the last year. She's not president of the Ellisville Town Council. And the mayor has not been there, and the
Right.
president of the city council has not been there. So to Jerry's question, that may be their intention, but it is certainly not what happens. And it hasn't been happening for years.
But what I heard there is that Jeff could designate Scott.
So everything that's been
Yeah.
discussed.
Yes.
And that's,
But to Jerry's point, are we undermining their intent? And yeah, Julie's absolutely right. It's kind of a lot of appointees. It's not usually ever the same one, except for Mayor Hannity's case.
I don't think we're
Makes sense.
undermining it because he's a member of the plan commission. And I think that it's not undermining it at all. In fact,
Well, not undermining, it's a bad term there, just not in the spirit of the intent.
I just don't, if I sit there, I don't have to take and say when I introduce myself that I'm proxy for. I heard you say that correctly. You don't have to say it every time you say it.
Not, yeah,
Not at all.
let me know if you need this. I can send you a link.
Yeah, so,
This horse is dead.
yeah, I just want to say one thing. If I'm nominated to this, it would be my intention to attend as much as I can, recognizing it's during the workday and I have another job, a primary job. But I would definitely turn to you if I wasn't able to attend.
Okay. You have to tell me.
Right, correct.
The meeting's at 1:30 on Friday, just
Okay.
during the day.
So then it's been, I believe there was move and second for Jeff Morris as the designee, and then Scott Ferris as the alternate. Is there a move and second? Okay, I can go ahead and call the roll. Jerry Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Jeff Morris,
Yes.
Scott Ferris.
Yes.
Mark
Yes.
Clemens, Julie Thomas,
Yeah.
John Enright Randolph,
Yes.
Edward Olman,
Yes.
Cheryl Munson, Dee Owens.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 9-0. And then the very last committee is the ordinance review committee.
I know I would like to continue to serve. I think it's a great opportunity to be somewhat more familiar and educated on some of these matters before we get to the full hearing, which I feel like has helped me not belabor it here. But I just want to express my interests. I could nominate, or is there anyone else that's wanting to serve on there? I would really want to nominate. I could do a slate nomination. I'll try. I'd like to nominate Commissioner Thomas, Scott Ferris, myself, Tron Randolph, and Jerry Pittsburgh.
No.
You don't want it?
No.
You serve as the alternate.
No.
Is there anyone else that's wanting? Margaret Clemens?
I'll continue.
Okay, and then Margaret Clemens, so that would be my motion.
So they would change there as I'm replacing Bernie.
Who's your alternate?
And an alternate, Edwin?
Cheryl?
Sure.
What?
Would you serve as the alternate?
What?
Oh my gosh.
I always show up.
It's Monday at like 4 o'clock and so.
For the MPO.
No. This is for the ordinance review committee where we review
My bad.
ordinances before they come to the plan commission for discussion.
Well, I can do that as an alternate. We don't know how often. They meet once a month?
Once a month.
Mondays are like 4.
And sometimes there's no agenda items.
Okay, I'll be an alternate if you need one.
Okay,
We would need a second.
Second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded to nominate the following members of the plan commission to the ordinance review committee. Scott Ferris, Tron Enright Randolph, Julie Thomas, Margaret Clemens, with Cheryl Munson as the alternate. A vote yes is a vote to approve. Jeff Morris,
Yes.
Scott Ferris,
Yes.
Margaret Clemens.
Yes.
Julie Thomas.
Yes.
Dee Owens,
Yes.
John Enright Randolph,
Yes.
Edward Olman,
Yes.
Cheryl Munson.
Yes.
Jerry Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. All right, that's it for nominations. Till next time.
Till next time.
So moving on to the next item on the agenda, the CDO work session for the ordinance review committee table of rezone requests.
Yes, so there, on the monroecdo.com website, there is the feedback survey, and we collected a lot of those responses. And now it's time for the plan commission to advise staff on how you would like us to respond to some of the, that feedback survey from individuals. So what we've put together is a short packet to go over this area of the county, which is West That Road, South Victor Pike, South Rogers. There was several survey responses in that area. And so the ordinance review committee put together a recommendation, and that's in the column, the second from the last column in the spreadsheet on page 5. And what we're looking for now is whether the plan commission would also recommend in line with what the ORC recommends, or if they would look at what the proposed zoning is and vote more in favor with what the proposed zoning is under the current CDO. So we're looking for your guidance on that. And this, I can go through just the columns of this table because it is fairly lengthy. So starting from the left, you do have the address of the property. The proposed zone is what's the proposed zoning under the CDO. So in this case for 848 West That Road, the proposed zoning district is medium density and the minimum acreage is listed as 0.21 acres. The existing zone is a state residential 1, which is a 1 acre minimum lot size. And then the existing acreage for the parcel 848 West That Road is 5.75 acres. It's currently vacant. The comprehensive plan has this as Makua mixed residential, so it's in the urbanizing area under the comprehensive plan. And there was a score of strongly dissatisfied, but the person who filled it out was not the owner. There was only one survey, and that is in the packet a little bit further down. And then the staff recommendation would include an upzone because of the medium density request, where as of right now, it's a state residential 1. The ORC decided or voted to make it suburban density, which would be a 1 acre minimum lot size, so keeping in line with what the existing zoning would be.
Are we getting rid of that word suburban?
We added a zone of estate density. We still have the zone suburban density. If estate density was 0.67 acres, suburban density is 1 acre. It's still open for discussion or change.
I think we could have a better term. It escapes me right now, but let me think about it for a second. How about something like rural density 1 acre? I mean, just instead of getting into.
Suburban is just not a good term.
That's right, and we aren't even that big of a city. You know, we're just not, so the city of Bloomington isn't that big of a city, so rural density or
Just a dumb question because I'm new to this. What's the, is there a history on this? On why we called these things what we called them? I know this goes back a long ways.
Sure.
And so the powers that be back then,
Right now, we do have a suburban residential zoning district that is 1 acre, and it comprises of areas just kind of scattered throughout the county, a lot of which is around Lake Lemon. But
that's not suburban.
what about residential neighborhood 1 acre? Or something, or neighborhood 1 acre, or anything but suburban or rural. This signals a lot, you know.
It's like the term urbanizing. It has a meaning to it that we don't really need to express.
Do we like the word rural?
Yes.
we have rural community 1, so I just want to make sure that we have enough name. Yeah, enough difference that there's not confusion.
So what residential terms do we have? We have estate residential, we have low density residential,
Medium density, high density.
medium and high density residential.
And then we have, yes, we added estate density and then suburban density.
And suburban is the one we want to.
And then we have,
I think rural is better than
You got low,
suburban.
medium, high. So high, medium, low,
I
what's below?
think a state puts our expectations really high on the home.
I know it does.
Like a bigger
I
house.
think I have an estate.
Yeah, you know, I think homeowners need to up their game. If we're gonna keep a state. You
I
know.
don't like it either.
Maybe we can go with a state, possibly modular home.
Modular residential.
Modular estate, yeah. It's just very hoity-toity,
Tiny house estate.
So
very
maybe-
hoity-toity. It leaves out
maybe
the
we
people
can
in
focus
modular.
on the acreage for
Yes.
tonight's discussion
Yes.
and then come back to it,
Yeah.
if you all want to think about naming.
In my own mind, what I'm trying to do is you have high, medium, low, and you have acreage associated with each of them. Now, if you've got the one we're talking about here, where does it fall on that spectrum? Above, high, or below the low?
It's below the low, so
Okay,
low
so now
is,
you're creating you've got 3 well-distinguished categories. Call it rural.
Except rural can be different acreages. And so that was what I presented earlier, which was if high, medium, low, rural 1 acre, rural 2.5,
Oh, I like that.
rural
that.
5. And
Yes,
then
So you
it's
have-
in the name and you know what it is.
You have rural categories.
Yeah.
yes.
I was
Okay.
wondering if maybe we could move this to the ORC to discuss the discussions coming from 3 members over there. Maybe really iron it out, just as a recommendation. To move
I'm happy to
forward.
call it a rural.
I think we've made a decision
Rural,
for the most part.
rural density
Okay, well-
residential, it would be, I have up on the screen, so we would have, agricultural residential 2.5, forest residential 5, conservation residential 2.5, rural community 1, suburban density residential 1. That could change to rural density residential. So the RD, and then estate density, low density, medium density, high density.
And put rural before rural low density, rural medium density, rural high density. So it's.
I think at that point, you're just adding characters that probably be there. What, can you give an example of some of the, what is zoned as SD right now? Or what would be, like chunks, you know, I don't need individual property chunks, where's a chunk that would be SD?
That's a good,
Yeah, so it's, like I said, it's kind of
yeah.
the outer county areas along like
There's a lot of things.
thoroughfares and then along Lake Lemon. So there are pockets of communities that I would say fit that
So like
designation.
what's along 46 outside of Balanceville, towards Owen County?
Could be, that's probably more ag.
So I think most of that's 2.5. And then you get into, and then when you get into Benton Township, it's more
So-
likely forest reserve.
So there's kind of a lot that have this designation. So do you see the brown?
Mhm.
This is suburban density through here, but then we also have it around Lake Lemon.
Yeah.
So it's along thoroughfares, it's sort of like communities that have come about along thoroughfares.
And those some of those brown spots are rural communities too. So that's
Right.
that also.
What I would add, being the new guy, is that density to me is a repetitively redundant term. If you understand what I'm saying. It's repetitively redundant. So why do we use density? Just delete it.
Yes.
And then just,
Call it what it is.
Rural.
And there might, unless there's some history here I don't know about using the
R
word
one,
density.
rural residential 1, rural residential
Plain English.
2.5, forget the density, that signals something other
It
than
does.
what the people want, you know?
so we could, yes, we could definitely change any of these districts. The naming is not as important as
That's the
the
concept.
design standards.
Exactly.
But I think, so we've changed the name maybe twice, which is okay. We could change it a third time, that's totally fine. I feel like every time we reopen it, we don't have a strong consensus for a lot of these.
I don't
So
believe the new
the
guy
way we
just-
voted one time, if we wait long enough, we'll vote another way. I understand. They're not, none of them are perfect, but we will have to come to a consensus. So if you want, as Tron mentioned, we could take this to the ordinance review committee. I was hoping that today we could try and make our way through this table.
Right.
If even you just wanted to look at it from a standpoint of acreage, we could just ignore the naming and then come back to it. Is that amenable?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so,
I have a question about the chart.
yes. I can pull up any of these.
No, the chart you were just on,
Oh.
or however, I think either chart would be fine.
Okay.
Which one of these would we actually literally have to make some type of statement that would go away from our comprehensive plan that's in place? Because we are looking to change the maximum acreage.
So under, to take, I think what your question is, so 848 West that road, the comprehensive plan designation is Makua mixed residential. If we were to zone that as 1 acre lot sizes, that would potentially be a deviation if that zoning district did not allow for any other housing type other than single family, let's say. Is that your comment?
Right, so we have to kind of deviate from our comprehensive plan and recognize that we're doing that. And then the follow-up question is, what we're looking at are proposes from planning in the recommendation. So just to bring some more context, because we discussed this at the ORC and as you see the recommendations, typically we don't make recommendation, or we just don't vote. So it's kind of a new column there. I recused myself because I needed more time. One of our members were absent, but then we moved forward, as you can see, with all the recommendations there. Which I understood that a lot of these recommendations went against staff recommendations. And could you highlight which ones those were?
So it would be 848 West That Road, staff. Well, I guess you could just compare the second column to the second to the last column. So compare this column here.
Right, I was hoping you would highlight them.
Okay. Yes, I can do that. So it looks like it deviated for the top three: 848 West That Road, 555 West That Road, 4691 South Victor Pike. And then it was in line, I think amenable under 488 South Roger Street. That was recommended to be RC1, which is a comparable lot size, I think. So that would make that lot conforming. And then under 4878 South Roger Street and 4903 South Roger Street, those were different than the staff for the comprehensive plan. And then 1250 West Church Lane, that was actually a applicant that wanted to downzone their own property. But that's different than the comprehensive plan a bit. And then 4835 South Victor Pike. That one actually is in line, that's no change, so.
And to address Tron's other question at the beginning, anything that we do throughout this whole process of completing the CDO, anything that's different from the comp plans plural is heard as a revision to the comp plan to make sure everything stays in line.
Right. And it's not that we can't do it, just one.
But you don't have to do it individually, you just do it at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd just like to review if possible of the Stella's Place, because the gentleman came to speak with us at the library on the south side. And he, it says here that there was no owner filling out request. And to me, he filled out a request because he came and he spoke with us at the library. So I just wondered, are we on his page or are we changing? I can't remember everything.
I think that RC1 is more in line with what
He wanted.
Okay. I do think that matches. So this is related to the actual CDO survey that was
Yes.
submitted, which is in the packet.
Yes.
You can find that on page 20 of the packet.
Okay.
There's survey feedback, and that was
Okay.
taken as a snapshot in time. So
Okay.
if he's submitted since then.
I don't recall him really having any issues. He was mainly kind of talking about the history of his property, and we did give him our contact information after the meeting.
Yeah.
So I
So
don't
he
believe
didn't-
he's followed up.
He didn't say, I want to change my zoning.
Yeah, he was just interested in the process, if I recall correctly.
RC1 would allow small retail, whereas medium density might be a little bit more problematic for that. So I think it's currently legal pre-existing non-conforming, but if you want to make it so that it's just conforming, and then there could be changes made to it or expansions, RC1 might be a better fit for that.
Okay, and I'm a little bit lost, I just remember the man, he's elderly, And
Yes.
that he may have fallen through a little, not intentionally on his part or on our part, but I just want to make sure that we have his intention well understood, and it seems like you do. So that's, I just,
He's a nice guy.
he's an older gentleman, so thank you.
You need to listen to this older gentleman.
What?
You need to listen to the older gentleman.
I always listen to the older gentleman.
Would it be easiest if maybe we looked at the vacant parcels first and then made those recommendations, or do you want to go in order?
I think just start with number one and work through them.
Okay.
Cheryl had a question.
So, I was trying to bring this up while we were talking about names of zones. And we didn't like estate residential, at least some of us didn't like it. Could we not call that mixed residential?
Mixed seems to imply single-family homes, apartments,
And
townhomes,
businesses.
duplexes.
And that's what
That's
I think we have in the estate category.
If I can interject, I don't know about, I guess I'll speak for myself. I was solely making a joke about the comment estate. I am perfectly fine with.
You're fine
estate.
with it?
Yeah, I was simply just
I-
joking on behalf of just the comedic relief so we can get through the meeting, but
There were
yeah.
people from the up there by Oliver Winery in Worms Way who argued that they thought that market value of their homes would be decreased if just the terminology calling their zoning was changed from estate
Do
to
something else.
density something or whatever. So they made a, right, Jackie, am I right?
I believe that's what they were mentioning, yes.
Yeah, but they,
I struggle living up to the estate residential zoning that I have. It's like, I just feel like I have to do so much to keep my place at the state level. I'd like for it to be changed.
It's the gatekeeper and the cost of the gatekeeper. I know, so.
Our cat.
So do we, or,
Can we use a dollar sign in place of the S in the state? That would, I would like that.
Okay.
Would anybody happen to have a Dell laptop charger?
I'm sorry.
Jackie, can I ask a question about the chart up here? Are you wanting us to vote on each of these items
I
tonight?
would like,
Okay.
if people are.
Thank you for getting us back on track, Mr. Moore.
And I guess I have a blanket question before you get into each line. Are there any of these on this list that you're recommending changes for, but don't meet what the petitioners or the property owners are wanting?
So you're saying in regards to the survey?
Right, so the ones where the owner has filled out a request for a change here, are any of the proposed changes going against what the homeowner or property owner is
Sure.
requesting?
That's a good question. So 4691 South Victor Pike is a current petition that's going through the Plan Commission, but we did receive a high number of surveys following that application being filed, and this would go against what the owner would like. So that's 4691 South Victor Pike. And then 4878 South Rogers Street. There was an owner filling out the request here. I believe this one does go against their request. And then 1250 West Church Lane, this matches what they would like. And then 4835 South Victor Pike. I believe that matches what they would like. So they were already satisfied. The scoring is in the middle here. So this is how satisfied they were with the current CDO proposal. So there's only 1-5. So only one person was highly satisfied with how we zoned.
And that's one of the things we looked at in ordinance review committee, was whether that survey was done by somebody who didn't own the property versus somebody who did own the property, right? Because you can want something else to be zoned a certain way, but if it's not yours, it has less impact.
Right. And some of the homeowners I see are online. I see their names there and they're listening. So they've been engaged throughout, especially on 1250 West Church Lane. They'd like it to remain agricultural, because they have animals. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie.
Yeah.
So we're gonna vote on each individual one, or are we, is that what, let's go back to where you started, okay?
Yes, unless there's questions or if people don't feel comfortable voting on one of these or need more information, we can skip it, but yes.
And it's just on acreage, not on the terminology.
I think you could work on acreage, and then if you voted on acreage, we could deduce that change in the draft zoning map. So from tonight's meeting,
Yes.
we're going to start making changes
Okay.
to the CDO draft zoning.
Great. Okay.
Does anyone want to start? 848 West that road. I will also just.
Cover for each one, so we.
Yes, I also note this. This is this parcel right here. It's 848 West that road. Here's an aerial.
Yes. And we discussed this.
What's being proposed is 0.21 acres. What's existing is 1 acre lots. And there's no feedback from the neighbor. The ORC wants to recommend something that I'll indicate that I recuse myself on every single vote. We don't typically vote at the ORC. One member was absent.
So at 848 West that road, I would like to move that we support the ORC's recommendation of 1 acre.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, I'm looking to see where we see the ORC recommendations.
It's on the far right column on page 5.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to change the zoning of 848 West that road from medium density 0.21 acres to a 1 acre density designation. A vote yes is a vote to change it to 1 acre.
I think a point of order is in order. The existing acreage is 1 acre, so it keeps it the same at 1 acre.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's
Existing.
a whole column of that, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yes, the existing acreage is state residential 1. Okay.
And this is just one more point of clarity. This is the one where it doesn't go with the comprehensive plan. You have to adjust the comprehensive plan because
We're gonna have to do that anyway.
Correct. This would require
it was
no
somewhat
to the comprehensive.
out of bounds on the comprehensive plan on some of these. Okay, no, I just like it. It sometimes people reference the comprehensive plan, saying that we need to stay in guidance of that, use it. And then sometimes we're here on this discussion where we're like, well, we can just change the comprehensive plan. And it's just interesting.
Well, it just, my motion is that it remain 1 acre as it's currently zoned.
Did you get a second?
Yes, we got a second.
Okay. I'll start with Edward Ullman.
I'll make a comment before I vote, and I'd like to, if you don't want to put the satellite image, I really think it fits better as 0.21 acres because it carries right off of the subdivision on the north. And I drive that road every morning on the way to work, and you have a daycare church facility right across the road, you have a hiking trail right across the road, or right down the road, you have one on both sides, that you have Clear Creek on one side and the other one, I forget what it's called, like, it's.
Look at that.
Your grocery store is a mile away, like that is perfect for urbanization, in my opinion. And I think to limit such acreage to 1 acre is silly.
In
I
our,
agree.
I agree.
well, in our ordinance review committee, we discussed that you could always reduce the acreage, but you could never increase it. If it were reduced to 0.21 by right, then we would, and that's going to probably be a PUD anyway.
Sitting at the meeting, knowing that just sitting there knowing the outcome and recusing myself on everything and no one agreeing that let's just move this to the full plan commission. I stated that at the same time of what you're saying, this creates uncertainty for developers and they don't have the predictability that they can go in there and build a lot. So it turns a lot of petitions into a negotiation. And I have, since 2016, said we need to add predictability into our ordinance. And I agree with you, but if we treat everything like this, it's not good planning, in my opinion.
Well, I made a motion and it was seconded, and I'm not ready to withdraw it.
Yeah, I vote no.
Okay.
Problem.
Cheryl Munson,
No.
Jerry Pittsburgh,
No.
Jeff Morris,
Yes.
Scott Ferris,
No.
Margaret Clemens,
Yes.
Julie Thomas,
Yes.
Dee Owens,
yes,
Sean and Ray Randolph.
No.
So the motion is 5-4 no, 5 for yeses. So that motion fails, I believe.
We have another motion on the table.
I make a motion, we leave it with the 0.21.
The proposed one.
The proposed 0.21. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to change 848 West That Road or keep 848 West That Road, 0.21 in the CDO draft zoning map, but it is a proposed change from the current zoning, which is a state residential 1. A vote yes is a vote to agree with the 0.21 acre lot size. Cheryl Munson,
Yes.
Jerry Pittsford,
Yes.
Jeff Morris,
No.
Scott Ferris,
Yes.
Margaret Clemens.
No.
Julie Thomas,
No.
Dee Owens,
no,
Tron Enright Randolph,
Yes.
Edward Olman.
Yes.
Okay, that motion does pass 5-4. Okay, so now we are on to the next one, which is 555 West That Road. The existing zone is a state residential 1. Existing acreage is 0.22 acres. It is currently used as mixed-use commercial/residential.
And just with.
So it's currently pre-existing non-conforming in terms of lot size. This would change this to be more in line, the proposed zoning would be more in line with what the acreage is. The ORC recommendation was 1 acre. So
Can you see the satellite image again?
yes, 555 West That Road.
Is that the,
The
that's
one that's got the bad repairs that are falling apart into the road. Oh, the other by rest.
what's the commercial use there?
Church.
It's a boat.
Is it the
Yeah, I think it's marina repair.
marine repair? Yeah.
Oh, it's right next door to the post office.
Well, it's
No,
around the
it's
corner.
not down.
Yeah, it's on that
Right,
road, yeah.
It's adjacent to the rail trail. The rail trail
Yeah.
cuts across the side of the parking lot.
That's, they don't do any other kind of upholstery, just boats.
I think that's, the intent. I'm
I
sure that
know.
if you probably wanted to bullshit, they'd probably help you out.
I have some.
Oh, really?
Can you take her arrow and point to what you're talking about? Because it's the one right in the middle there.
To recover some.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
The triangle.
The one below?
They used to do auto headliners too.
Oh, I see. I got it.
I'll go ahead and say that, I'm looking towards the ORC recommendation on this just due to the proximity of Clear Creek. Feel like we have to get some of our affairs in order there and allowing more density that's completely adjacent to the creek. I don't think it's a timely, I just don't think it's timely right now because of experience with property owners experiencing flash flooding and other developments occurring, and that one's just directly adjacent to it.
And Tron or anybody, just that yellow is the floodplain, isn't it?
Floodway.
Floodway, sorry.
But it's floodplain, but it's the worst kind of floodplain.
No new
So
residential.
I would like to make a
Right next
motion
to that
to
0.21. Right next
hold
to
the ORC recommendation.
Which is 1 acre.
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to have 555 West That Road be a 1 acre lot size. A vote yes is a vote to make it 1 acre. Jerry Pittsford?
You know, I'm sort of conflicted on this. I understand the idea, but the bringing it into conformity was proposed seemed to make sense to me. So I'm going to vote no.
Jeff Morris?
Yes.
Scott Ferris?
Yes.
Margaret Cummings?
Yes.
Julie Thomas?
Yes.
Shawna Enright Randall?
Yes.
Dee Owens?
Yes.
Edward Olman?
Yes.
Cheryl Munson?
Yes.
Okay. The motion carries 8-1.
You know, I have I guess a question, with what Jerry brought up, like if somehow this property was able to kind of acquire more property and do like a lot line adjustment or so, and then they eventually were larger than the 1 acre that we just designated, then they could, if we did favor the 0.21, then they could have, if they got to an acre, they could have then subdivided it, so I get, I'm
That,
sorry.
that could happen anywhere.
Right, so since we're leaving it at the 1 acre, so we don't have to worry about them getting more property and then subdividing that density, right?
The floodway cannot be counted towards acreage eligible for subdivision as the subdivision ordinance is currently written. We don't plan on changing that. 4691 South Victor Pike is the next one. The proposed zoning medium density.
Who's
the
proposed?
existing.
Who's proposed?
This is the, in line with the comprehensive plan. So this is what's under the CDO currently.
But it's currently a state residential
It's
one.
currently a state residential 1. It's 44.07 acres. There's 1 single-family residence on the property. The comprehensive plan has this as Makua mixed residential / open space. You can see the scores and who filled it out. There were 19 surveys, and this would be considered an upzone. And then the ORC recommendation would be 1 acre lot size.
I'll say I'm gonna recuse myself on this because it's an active petition, and I'm kind of curious of how that's gonna play out, because I've seen this happen at the city where some people pulled live petitions because they knew kind of what the zoning changes we're gonna see, and we lost some public benefit, so that's just gonna be, I need more information of how this petition's gonna play out before I feel comfortable voting on this one, so I just wanted to state my position.
Well, I propose that we keep it at 1 acre, and the reason I propose that we keep it at 1 acre is that we have seen extraordinary amounts of high-density multifamily building in excess of what is predicted that we need. I think there are 3,000 units that will go online this year, in addition to all of the other units that have been built. And so until we see how the market plays out, and if the market arguments are true, that the market will bring the prices of housing down into affordable ranges, then we will have time and opportunity to change these properties into more dense environments. But if we zone it to 0.21 now and give people by right in this area where Sudbury is going to be going and anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 units, what that will do to our municipal water treatment supplies and sewage treatment systems. I mean, how much do we want to break what we have is my question.
Can we see the open?
I have a question, because you've made that statement a couple of times and there's been no pushback.
I don't know what
And
statement you're referring to.
that we're running out of capacity for everything in terms of water utility and sewer and all that. You've even gone so far as to say, basically the county should be closed to any further development.
I didn't say that. I'm
You came
sorry.
very
You're
close to
putting
it.
words in my mouth, Mr.
No, I'm not. You came
Yes, you
very,
are.
you said you had at a meeting recently, you said you have to wonder if we should even be encouraging anyone to move to this county. And you're shaking your head. You know I'm right. You know that was said. Other people here know that was said.
That was said.
It's in my notes. It was said. The market value of houses is not a factor in planning. It is land use. It's not market. And you keep making that statement about what we're doing to the market on this and what we're doing to the market on that. It is not a factor in land use.
It is in response to the arguments that are made before the plan commission, that when they claim that they're building affordable housing, they say, well, the market.
That's not our job.
Well, it's.
That's not our job.
The
Our job is
argument
to determine
excuse
appropriate
me,
land use.
I'm speaking.
If we're here to do marketing, we're in the wrong business, and I'm leaving. This is wrong. This is not what we're here to do.
I think Tron had a good point that this is an active petition on this
Yes.
property, and I'm wondering, Jackie, I know we're gonna have several of these conversations,
Yeah.
kind of grouped by section of the county, but I'm wondering if we could table this one until the petition is decided.
So
I'd be willing to turn that into.
I agree with that.
I agree with that too, but I want to make sure, could you show us on the map where this is?
Sure, it's this property right here.
I don't know what.
It's right around the corner from that road. It's
Yeah.
the
Trails that run on it.
where the four-way stop is, you go south before you cross the.
It's right next
Lighthouse
to
Christian.
Lighthouse Christian. I saw the
It's the
petition
petition sign.
sign. I know where this is.
The trails at Robertson.
Let's just build the hell of it.
So I would like to turn my comment into a motion that we
Okay.
table this until
Table
after the outstanding petition has been decided.
Second.
All right. I think I can just do is anyone opposed to that?
You have D on there, so you have to do a roll call.
Okay,
Sorry.
no, it's kind of a no action, but I'll do a voice vote. Okay, 4691 South Victor Pike. All those in favor of tabling the petition, vote yes. Tron Enright Randolph.
Yes.
Edward Olman. Cheryl Lynn.
Yes.
Jeff Morris.
Yes.
Scott Ferris.
Yes.
Art Clement. Yes. Julie Thomas.
Yes.
Dee Owens.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 8-1. All right, we're making progress. I know this is difficult. This is a lot of different properties on one table. But we do appreciate moving through these. We have quite a few surveys that have come in, and so we just want to be responsive to the public who submitted feedback to give them the answers, whether or not it's in line with what they're asking for. We just like to make sure that we have a response to them, so. Okay, so the next one is 488 South Rogers Street. And this is the Clear Creek Post Office. So staff recommendation was, the proposed CDO zone right now is medium density, 0.21 acre. Existing zoning is estate residential 1. The existing acreage is 0.16 acres. The comprehensive plan has this as mixed residential. And the ORC recommendation was RC1. And I will point this out on the map. This is one of these south properties here.
RC1.
RC1
Can
is
you
rural
trace it?
community 1.
Okay.
It would allow for, it's a zoning designation that's for the rural communities. It's supposed to allow flexibility between residential and commercial on the same property.
And you can
Small
see,
scale residential.
and you can see how much of it's in flood zone.
Which box?
And that's what I was just asking Tammy. I'm pretty sure it's 6 bucks.
Which, could you put your arrow on the box? Okay.
I think it's that
I think
higher.
it's up a little, like across from the parking lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one's Stella's place.
So with the proposed and the existing, it'd still be non-conforming.
Proposed and existing.
We have,
Yes, so RC1 would potentially make it conforming because we're saying that it could be as small as 0.14
so
acres.
RC1 would be. I'll make a motion to, for the ORC recommendation column as RC1.
RC1, a vote yes is a vote to fall in line with the ordinance review committee recommendation. RC1, Cheryl Munson,
Yes.
Jeff Morris,
Yes.
Pat Ferris,
Yes.
Margaret Clemens.
Yes.
Julie Thomas.
Yes.
Ron and Ray Randolph,
Yes.
Edward Olman.
Yep.
Dee Owens.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. 8-0. RC1. Next up, we have 4878 South Rogers Street.
The law firms.
It's right.
The law.
That's vacant, half acre. And the ORC recommendation is 1 acre.
Why? Because of the floodway, we don't want more development on that. It's already undevelopable, really,
So with the
you
floodplain,
know, and
It's
that's,
just
there's
impossible.
nothing you could do with it.
We don't want to signal to somebody that they think they can.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty stupid.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Neighboring lots are already
there was any livable area that it needs, or would they basically have to then get approval for construction in a floodway and a variance? I mean, even if we were going to hold what's being proposed,
Unless the floodway determination is ever changed through updated mapping, like you cannot put a new residence in floodway. That is a federal, state, local, all of it across the board, no new residential. If they got front setback variance,
maybe.
might be able to squeeze
Put
something
up
in
the coffee
there.
shack.
That cough.
They'd have to.
A food truck.
Commercial's a little different. Commercial permits could possibly be available if they do a lot, or a lot of engineering.
I don't think we should encourage it.
I agree with Julie.
I'm gonna move that we approve it as ORC recommended.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded to change 4878 South Rogers Street, or keep in line with the existing zoning, or stay with the ORC recommendation of 1 acre. And a vote in favor is to make a 1 acre lot size. Scott Ferris,
Yes.
Margaret Clemens.
Yes.
Julie Thomas.
Yes.
John Enright Randolph.
I just don't understand all of the impacts it would have to stay pre-existing non-conforming and what exact limitations that does from like a very broad scope. So I'm gonna just recuse myself because my goal is really to try to help move these into a compliance measure. And if there's something I'm missing, some adverse impact because we're keeping it at 1 acre,
Okay.
and I'm gonna, again, sorry, just, I recuse myself because of a lack of really understanding some of the nuances here.
Okay, Edward Olman,
Yes.
Cheryl Munson. Okay. Jeff Morris.
I'm hesitating on this one because I know there was a house there before and most of the houses in that area are small. And it appears that a house could fit on that lot
But
without being in the floodplain.
without being in the floodplain,
I don't know. Wouldn't meet the setback requirements.
I don't think so.
Probably,
Not much on that road meets setback requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's just,
I'm gonna vote no.
Okay, and then Dee Owens.
Yes.
Okay, so the vote carries 6 to 1. Right, and now we are down to the bed and breakfast 4903 South Rogers Street. Currently 1.15 acres. The ORC recommended 1 acre. The CDO has it currently proposed as medium density, 0.21, and its current zoning is low density, 0.34 acre.
Address, what's that again? I think I skipped.
4903.
4903, it's away from the floodplain, it's on the east side of Rogers Street.
It's the Wampler bed and breakfast.
I typed in the wrong address. Thank you.
Any motion on this one?
I like-
Can you go through what is it currently and what was it intended to be?
Low density, it's 0.34 acre minimum lot size right now.
Uh,
The CDO has it as 0.21, ORC has it as 1 acre. And it's 1.15 acres, so it would be
Keeping the status quo, basically.
Compliant.
Reflecting what's there.
Yeah.
compliant.
I move that we support the ORC's recommendation at RC1 for this address.
Second,
Okay, so moved and seconded to keep it, or change it to 1 acre, which would be a down zone. A vote yes is a vote to make it 1 acre. Margaret Clemens?
Yes?
Julie Thomas?
Yes.
Dee Owens?
Yes.
Okay. John and Ray Randolph?
Yes.
Edward Ullman?
yes.
Cheryl Munson?
yes.
Jeff Morris?
Yes.
Scott Ferris?
Consensus, yes.
Okay.
It happened.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Right, and then we're moving down to, I think we agreed on the Stella's Place, RC1. We had that discussion, but we can take a vote on that. So 4904 South Rogers Street and 1250 West Church Lane and 4835 South Victor Pike are the last three. And actually, the ORC recommendation is in keeping with compliance or what the survey/owner wanted. So we could do those all together if you wanted, or I can keep them separate.
I move that we approve all of the ORC's recommendations for these three properties at 4904 South Rogers, 1250 West Church Lane, and 4835 South Victor Pike.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. 4904 South Rogers Street, which is a retail location, would be RC1. 1250 West Church Lane was a request to change it to Ag 2.5 by the owner. 4835 South Victor Pike was a no change. It would be 1 acre, stays the same. A vote yes is a vote to vote with the Ordinance Review Committee column. I will take these all at once. Julie Thomas?
Yes.
Dee Owens?
Yes.
John Enright Randolph? Edward Ullman?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at the one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
So the 1250 is this one where it had.
yeah, I'll vote yes.
Okay. Cheryl Munson?
Yes.
Jeff Morris?
Yes.
Scott Ferris?
Yes.
Margaret Clemens?
Yes.
Back to Tron?
Yeah, it's a tough one because, there's a large lot there. But because the property owner has expressed their interest of wanting it at Ag 2.5, I'm gonna vote yes. And so I guess I can vote for the group because the other two are fine, so yes.
Okay. So that passes 8-0. Okay.
So if you haven't been to Stella's Place, it's really worthwhile to go.
Okay.
Check it out.
The last item on the agenda is signs. I do have a question just for legal that I believe I still need to check in with them on. But basically, from the ORC to the Plan Commission, I did want to make a note for those of you on ORC that we're changing it to, instead of say that we're trying to restrict or prohibit pole signs or billboards, we're just going to say the opposite, which is we're trying to encourage wall signs, monument signs, building signs, so that we stay in line with what the case law has been on signs. So this is the track changes for signs. The main purpose of this edit is so that we add timing into our procedure for how long we have to approve a sign permit. Dave, did you want to bring forward anything on this?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you start us off?
Well,
As I go through here, I have about 3 things that jump out at me. One, in the exemptions on the sign, it looks like a historic preservation sign exemption was added. That is clearly content-based, and we just paid $28,000 in attorney's fees because we had content-based regulations. So I guess.
You want to take that out? It's only it's in the state code as exemptions for.
Is there a way to say if the sign is more than 50 years old? Is that, because that's the structure of the sign, is that permissible?
well, we have in there that signs are exempt if they're, what is it 4 square feet or 2 square feet? 4 square feet, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
And I looked at the historic preservation sign markers. Are you talking about the roadside signs that, like, this is the
4 square feet. This says it's the historic preservation property markers as amended in the Indiana Code constitute an exception to any codes and ordinances establishing sign regulations.
That's not the Constitution. Okay, that's the problem.
It seems like the Public Works puts those up, right?
Yeah, these kind of signs, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so.
Those are 2 by 2.
Yeah. So
those would be fine, okay.
What about the smaller brass one? I think they're brass, because they get that patina on them, but there's the smaller ones.
Well, that's less,
Yeah, they would be okay.
Okay.
it's just the large size.
Like this is Nob Hill, East Union Street. It has a thing about that.
Yeah,
That's a 2 by 2.
okay. Same with Maple Grove, that one's.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that one's small, I'm thinking about it, yeah.
So I guess that would be a concern that I have is to take that out.
All right,
Um,
all right.
One other thing that the district court enjoined our sign permit process based on the fact that it had content and that because it had content, it didn't follow the what they call the Freeman rules on prior restraint. So there's a fear out there that if there's a permit requirement or something for some type of speech like a parade or a sign, that people can sort of do a pocket veto and hold it back or impose conditions on it that makes it impossible. So those provisions say that there has to be, these things have to be dealt with quickly. That when the government, imposes a condition or something on this, that the government bears the burden in of proving that it's necessary if it's challenged and so forth. That's if there's content-based regulations. And so the Southern District of Indianapolis said our sign ordinance had content-based because we exempted government signs, we exempted statues, and then we exempted temporary non-commercial. And that's because that's what the state law requires us to do. So
what was the second one? Temporary?
Statues,
things
like that.
Okay.
Which I don't quite understand, but that's what he said. And so he said, because we had that content stuff in there, we didn't have Freeman provisions in there. It's unconstitutional. Well, we took out those content-based regulations. And so under the case law, the Seventh Circuit says, hey, if you take out the content, then the Freeman rules don't really apply. You still have to have some standards, but it's not hardcore. So our sign permit application or process relies basically on mathematical things like setback, size, things like that. Their traditional time, place, and manner restrictions that are constitutional. So I don't think we have to have these provisions in here that say, you know, it's on, where is it? 3074 A1, where it talks about alternatively assigned permit decisions may be appealed directly to the federal court. On appeal, we bear the burden and all that. I think we can take that out.
Okay, we can just take that whole thing out.
Take that whole, where after alternatively from then on,
Okay.
reference to Freeman, you can take that out. The only thing that we might think about doing though, just to stay safe is, because this is essentially an improvement location permit, when our improvement location permit code says the administrator can impose conditions on an improvement location permit, but there's no guidance as to what those conditions have to relate to. So if we just go into 814 and say the director can impose conditions on improvement location permits as necessary to ensure that the standards of the ordinance are met. And then I think that gives it some guidance and makes it so that it's not unbridled discretion.
Okay.
Then the one thing, we have the V sign situation for sign area. And I didn't know if it would be helpful to have some illustrations on how that is done. Because that's come up a couple times as to what that actually means.
Is that something that can be done before the regular meeting? Be added to this?
Yes, we can add an image, sort of like, we've got these images down here.
Great.
We can add a V sign. You just want like a measurement, Dave, at the widest part of the V,
Or just,
showing that's
yeah, just
48 inches. Or
showing
you want
them
a
how,
V sign,
what we think that provision means.
what a V sign is.
Yeah,
Okay.
what that means.
Okay, yep, I can add
I
that.
have to limit an angle. An angle,
Yeah.
I do a little geometry.
If I make these changes and I can't get those to your desk in time, then I'll
Okay.
continue this to
All
the.
right, but in there, some of those illustrations show what is permitted and then what is not permitted, like on the height.
Oh, yes.
So that might be good to have. Here's a V sign that's permitted, here's one here's
Okay.
one that the area would be treated as a single sign.
Yes.
Here's one that would be treated as a double sign.
And we used to have these illustrations in the ordinance and then we took them out because we thought we got rid of pole signs, but now we're adding them back in. We changed the height, though it was 25, so now it's 10 to the top of the sign. If people find that to be too small, this will really make it so that it's almost impossible to do a billboard or a pole sign.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but if you have I'm just throwing this out there, if you have a 10-foot height maximum for the pole structure and the sign face, and you have how many square feet of sign,
Right.
it's gonna be,
big on the ground.
it's gonna be huge that way, horizontal.
Ah,
That might
So-
say this.
Yeah, so I would ponder that and,
Sorry.
but that's,
Have something in here that says it can't impede sight distance.
So we did address that because that's.
It is
my
already
one
in
thing
here.
Is that
Yeah.
there is some mechanism in here where it has a line of sight that we can offer different types, various signs that.
It's already in
Yeah.
here.
Okay,
It
thank
says,
you.
center line, in no case shall a sign interfere with sight distance per chapter 755.
I ask a question.
Yes.
What is the relationship then to this ordinance and then landmark sign ordinance? Are we, have we veered away?
monument sign?
Monument sign, yeah. Yeah, sorry. Have we veered away are we veering away from the monument sign toward pole sign?
Making people.
We're- At the beginning of the ordinance, we were originally stating that we wanted to get rid of billboards and pole signs, which are standalone tall structures now we have it, so we're saying we're encouraging sign types that preserve the county's rural character, including wall signs, monument signs, and building signs.
Yep.
So that would be like the opposite of saying, we're not necessarily coming out and saying we don't wanna see poles. We're ex-naying all pole signs and billboards, cause we might come into trouble with that, but we're
Right.
saying we'd like to encourage other.
Okay,
So instead of saying what we're trying to discourage, your focus is what we're trying to encourage, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think the size limitation on the sign panels is what's effective against billboards.
Did you have a question, Scott? I'm sorry.
People could always get a
I
variance.
do
like-
too.
Okay,
My only comment is that I'm new to this process, and so I look at this with a fresh set of eyes. Okay, and maybe when you guys have been doing this for a long time, and you've been carving this up and putting it back together again, I am not a big fan of signs at all, personally. I think it's distracting, I think it tears up your landscaping, and so discouraging those signs, in my opinion, even though I don't know how that plays in this discussion, it's something that is of value.
discouraging all signs.
All signs. As you go down the road, it just tears up your roadway. It makes it look terrible.
Okay.
Unless they're required signs, like for traffic and highway.
Boy, we're bringing those on too. boy.
All the advertisement signs.
Like, you mean like the temporary little signs in the right of way, or are you talking about like building?
Advertising.
Signs, okay.
I mean, you folks don't remember that in the city of Bloomington.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, you used to have signage that protruded out over the walkway, almost out into the street.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they passed an ordinance in the city of Bloomington, okay, that made it so you had to put the signage against the building. My dad was on a city council at the time. So they did that because it looked ugly as you went down College and Walnut.
Yeah,
Of course, it made a lot of people mad, but now look at it today and you don't have those signage
Right.
sticking out over.
Yeah.
There were exceptions like the Indiana Theater and the Von Lee and places like that. But in general, I think having signage out there from an advertising standpoint, in this day of social media, when everybody's advertising on social media, okay, maybe there's a paradigm shift here. And I say this as a new person coming into this discussion, whether it has value or not, so.
It is, thanks for sharing.
Maybe if you wanted to catch up with Dave to talk a little bit about some of our Monroe County legal history with sign cases, it might be worth it just to have that background. but
thousands of dollars
yes.
later.
It's a short one.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yep.
What the heck is a snipe sign?
As I was going through each one of these, we have definitions for all of these signs, and I almost think it is better that we just do images for all of them, because they don't necessarily match what you think. Isn't a snipe sign
It says,
over the,
It's not a sign that is exclusively content about Wilson Snipe, then I don't want to hear it.
while I'm looking this up, does anyone else have any other comments or changes? A snipe sign is a temporary sign illegally tacked, nailed, posted, pasted, glued, or otherwise attached to trees, poles, stakes, fences, or other objects.
utility poles, yeah, it's
There's
the,
no
you know,
such thing.
Did you have anything else, Dave?
No, I just think, the prohibition against tacking stuff to trees,
Yeah.
fence posts and so forth. People traditionally put their no trespassing signs on those
Yes.
types of things, so just be aware of that they're gonna have to stick them in the ground from now on.
You can paint the tree purple.
Purple, yeah.
Yeah.
So is there a compliance piece to this? I mean, so somebody, these are the rules, this is what you're supposed to do. And then somebody takes and puts a no trespassing sign where they're not supposed to. Is there a compliance piece to this? Who goes out and enforces that?
Yes, I mean, typically we get a complaint and then we
You have to
evaluate that against the ordinance, and then if it's not able to be maintained, we send them a letter.
Do you get many of those?
Yeah, we do get a fair amount of signed complaints, I would say.
Okay.
A ton. Sometimes a lot of it, yes, I would say sometimes it's just like right away, temporary, you know, yard sign kind of thing. We're not allowed to touch political signs. Oh, we are, but I don't, there's a lot of rules around that, so.
I'll thank you for all the work that's gone into this.
Sure.
There's quite a bit that's, I imagine, because of the history of the signs and everything.
Sure. And I'll get with Dave and try and get these edits before the plan commission meeting, so.
Sounds good.
Right, okay, any other?
I was just gonna say, I think we've reached the end of the agenda. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thank you.
Thanks for all of your work and for your perseverance, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.